How to handle wedding day disappointment. This is not the kind of video that you click on and you're excited about, right? If you haven't been through your wedding, you probably clicked on this video thinking, oh dear Lord, like what else do I have to prepare myself for emotionally during this season? If you have been through your wedding, there's a chance you might have some sort of lingering wedding day disappointment sensation that you're feeling. Maybe something didn't go according to plan, and I completely get where you're coming from. If you are new here, hi, my name is Jamie. I am your online wedding planner, just here to help you walk through all of this and make sure that you are having the most bomb wedding party of all time, and also a little bit of processing on the end of things. Here's what we're going to do in today's video. In today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about wedding day disappointment, how to kind of navigate that, what that feels like, and then we're going to celebrate, okay? Because so many aspects of the wedding planning process is so stressful and there's so much going on. So the second half of this video is going to be completely dedicated to wins that we have seen in our wedding planning community and the things that they were excited about and what went well on their wedding day, okay? Because we do enough of the whole clickbait nightmare, oh my gosh, everything's going up in flames kind of a thing, because it's so easy to fall into that trap of like, here's all the things that went horribly for my wedding day. It makes for much better titles too. Let's be honest, they're much more clickbaity. But every once in a while, we need a moment to celebrate the wins and to remember the amazing things that you get out of your wedding. But first, let's talk about how to process your wedding day disappointment. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into it. Chances are you're completely brand new to this. Chances are you have never planned an event of this magnitude before. You've never planned a wedding like this ever before. And so you kind of don't know what you're doing throughout the process, and you have really high hopes and really high expectations, but very little idea of what that follow through effectively looks like. What does a great wedding day look like? How do I pull that off? So if you're in that position, you haven't been through your wedding yet, please let me help you. I am here to walk you through this entire process, demystify what wedding planning looks like to make it as simple and as straightforward for you to plan. If you have yet to join my master plan community, I'm gonna go ahead and link it right here for you guys. It's literally this incredible program that I walk you guys through from the very beginning to the very end, the same exact way that I walk my long-term planning clients through at a fraction of the cost. There's a reason that wedding planners exist. There's a reason that we have jobs, because this is complicated and you're doing this for the first time. You should not have to walk through this alone. Let's get in front of these disappointments before they even have the opportunity to happen. Come join the master plan. Let me guide you through this as flawlessly as possible. If you have experienced wedding day disappointment, even if your wedding day has not happened yet and you're already experiencing disappointment, number one, feel your feelings. Talk about it. Share with people your disappointment, your expectations, where they were missed, where it didn't come to full fruition of what you wanted to get out of this. Maybe you're disappointed by your budget. Maybe you're upset that the DJ didn't keep the dance floor packed. Whatever that disappointment is, feel it. So often we find ourselves in situations where people try to placate or reassure you and say, but so many things went well. This was great. Everyone enjoyed themselves. And we kind of bottle that up and we don't think about it. We don't talk about it. But deep down within us, we're like, no, it didn't feel good. Parts of this didn't feel right, or I'm really still disappointed by this. So sometimes it can be a little bit hard to find an audience for that, especially with a fiance who feels sick about the amount of money you guys spent and just wants you to be happy and be like, no, things went well. Everything's fine. Why are you being so upset about such little details? Because they don't want to see you sad, or they don't want to sit in it with you. Whatever the process happens to look like, it may not just be your fiance. It could be friends. It could be family members trying to bolster you up. But in actuality, it kind of feels like they're just really smothering what you're trying to share with them. So sometimes finding the right group to be able to do this with is of the utmost importance. Again, whether you are in the process of planning your wedding and you're already experiencing disappointment, or your wedding day is over and you just need someone who understands and just need someone to vent to, I completely get it. And honestly, in my opinion, sometimes some of the best people to listen to you are those that are going through this alongside you. Other couples that are in the process of planning a wedding, which we have the most incredible community over in our Facebook group. I'll toss it up right up here for you guys to come join. Just an extremely loving and extremely supportive group here to say, I hear you. I understand. I'm sorry this is what you're going through. So if you are not experiencing that with family members, friends, or your fiance, and you need someone to listen, please come join us over there. We'd be more than happy to have you. Because especially if they're anything like my husband, who likes to compare everything that I'm saying with an analogy for construction, because that's the basis of what he understands and what he knows, and that I don't feel heard because he's just trying to come up with analogies that make it sound like he understands what I'm talking about, but instead we just end up talking about concrete drying. And it just feels like we're kind of speaking two different languages, and I want someone who understands where I'm coming from. I totally get it. Also, feel free to cry about it. If you feel like you want to cry because your flowers didn't look right, cry. It's okay. Your feelings are valid. You spent so much time and so much effort, and you put so much thought into planning this event. You had a vision of what it was going to look like. You had hopes and dreams for what this was going to feel like, and it's either not adding up to be that or it didn't become that. And that hurts a little bit or a lot a bit. Feel that. Be sad about it. Now, we're not intending to be overly dramatic about it, but if something's really haunting you and really bothering you, then it's there for a reason. I don't care if it's as silly as the color of your flowers or if it's as big as the DJ royally screwing something up. You are valid in your feelings. You have spent more time working on this one singular event than you have on any other event in your entire life. So if something goes wrong, it's okay to feel something about it. Next, reach out and or speak out. If a vendor was the cause of some of the issues or is currently the cause of some of the issues and you feel inclined to do so, bring it to their attention. Let them know the issues that you're experiencing or did experience on your wedding day in very clear language. Here was the expectation. Here were the behaviors and or actions that did not meet the expectation. And here's the request that we have to remedy the discrepancy. For some people, this is super easy. Like, hey, here's was the expectation. Here's what you did wrong. We'd like a refund for X amount. Some people are like bosses at that. Other people are like, I don't even know if I want to contact them. I kind of just want to move on. I totally get where you're coming from. I completely get where you're coming from. In a personal capacity, I feel a little bit more awkward doing this. In a professional capacity, on behalf of my clients, I have no problem emailing someone to be like, hey, you screwed up. Respectfully, you've got some making up to do here because this is not what we paid for. So if you had a situation like that with a vendor, if you are not the person that's comfortable reaching out to do that, I would enlist the help of a family member or a friend. Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's your spouse, someone to send off this email saying, here was the expectation. We thought we were all on the same page. Here was the behavior that didn't meet that expectation, or here was the activity or the bullet points that didn't meet that expectation. And here is the remedy that we would like to see. If it is a family member or friend that is causing this currently to happen or caused it to happen on your wedding day, this gets messier. Right? This gets to the point where you're like, I actually have to have a relationship with this person. And I can't just request a refund from my mom who caused a dramatic event. Right? And you know this relationship and this situation way better than I. So I can't speak to specificity here. You likely know how this person will receive any sort of feedback or feelings that you've had from your wedding day. So in the same way, I've encouraged you to reach out to your vendors if they're currently underperforming or underperformed on your wedding day. Also do the same with wedding party members or your fiance or a member of your family who is, you feel like you have higher expectations and higher hopes or did have them for your wedding day that they did not meet. Let them know what those were and let them know how it's affecting you. Let them know what that feels like. Kara put this beautifully in a download that we had for a video a while back. And if you don't know who Kara is, she's a great friend of ours. She is literally a life coach for brides. She is a bridal coach to help you navigate all of the emotional stuff during this time. As we're sharing this feedback, as we're telling people what we're feeling, we're going to focus on I stuff. Now, you are not being helpful enough, but I feel like I'm not being supported. And making that shift in your language can really help facilitate a more open conversation than more accusatory language. And last but most certainly not least, we are going to focus on the wins. We're going to focus on the things that are going well. We're going to focus on the things that went well. We're going to focus on your favorite parts. We're going to focus on the things that you're enjoying, that you're excited about. We are going to celebrate the good things. And you're going to go through an emotional roller coaster, right? You're going to have those peaks and you're going to have those dips. Again, it's an expensive party. You're pouring your heart and soul into this. You've never spent this amount of time working on an event in your entire life. Everything, your love story is written for this day. You know, there's so much outside societal pressure or internal pressure or family pressure or friend pressure to make this the best day of your life. So it's natural to have these feelings of disappointment. It's natural to go, I am so not happy with some of these results. But the power of positive thinking is super, super strong. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read through some of the wins from you guys, from what you've shared in our Facebook group to help us to focus on the good stuff, the happy stuff, the things that are worth celebrating. Everyone loved the bounce house. So if you're on the fence about bounce house, do it. Everyone's going to love it. The weather. The whole week leading up to it, our day was pinned to be cold and rainy. We literally had this happen this last weekend with a wedding out in Arizona. It was like waffling back and forth on whether it was going to be a rainy day or not, and it ended up being absolute perfection. That's not to say that like every single wedding day is not going to have rain, But hold on, let's focus on the good part, right? We had a rain location, so it would have been okay, but not nearly as pretty as our outdoor location. When we woke up very early that morning and it was raining, I was super unhappy. It was like 50 degrees, gray, and raining. But as the morning progressed, the clouds cleared, and by the time of our 2 p.m. ceremony, it was glorious out. I was really happy that our venue allowed us to wait to make the call until the morning of. If they needed an answer a few days before, we probably would have said indoors and missed the great weather. This bride says, we were very lucky in that almost everything went well. The weather was absolutely perfect and our vendors were amazing. Most of our guests danced the whole time because we picked a great DJ. When I tell y'all that picking a good DJ is super important, like the proof is in the pudding or in the responses on some of these posts. I think what really helped is that we picked vendors we meshed well with. And this is why I'm super annoying and always telling you guys to pick vendors that you want to spend time with. Pick vendors whose personality you enjoy. Oh, this one's super important. The overall vibe of my wedding was perfect. So many little things went wrong, but everyone is still talking about how much fun they had 2 months later. And you could tell the whole night that everyone was really enjoying themselves. In the beginning of wedding planning, I got really wrapped up in making sure the day went as perfect as possible, even as a wedding planner, and I would get really disappointed and bummed out when things didn't go well. But then I realized that my standard of things going well was completely different than the guests. Right? I had higher expectations and higher hopes for myself, for my clients, for what the day would look like than most of the guests did. Listen, if they weren't bored and they were well fed and well entertained, that's all they needed. So now I find myself paying a lot more attention to the overall vibe of the crowd. Are they antsy? Are they anxious? Are they wanting to get out of there? Or are they really enjoying themselves than I am to all of the specific details that in the very beginning I like hemmed and hawed over. But I realized maybe it didn't matter as much. The first looks that I did, bridesmaids, father, husband, were so much sweeter than I could have imagined. Oh, okay. This is chart. Hold on. Everything went as planned. Of course, a few tiny hiccups here and there, but nothing major. The main thing I think that went really well was our timeline. The whole day flowed smoothly. We had scheduled the proper amount of time for each section. How many times have I talked about this? I'm so flipping annoying. I know, I'm the worst. When you have a well-done timeline, it takes the guesswork out of everything for all of your vendors and for your wedding party, and everyone knows where they're supposed to be and when they're supposed to be there. I absolutely cannot recommend perfectweddingtimeline.com enough. I'm gonna link it right here for you guys. If you do not have a professional coordinator or a professional wedding planner, you need to go check this out. Literally, we have a person right here saying that their wedding day went so much better because they had a well done timeline. You are not supposed to know how to put together a perfect timeline. You're also not supposed to know how much time each activity should take. That's where perfectweddingtimeline.com comes in. You answer a handful of questions and it churns out literally a professional timeline for your wedding party and all of your vendors to operate off of to make things as smooth as humanly possible. Oh my gosh, this one hit my heart in like the best way. My parents had a bitter divorce 30 plus years ago. Hadn't spoken to one another or seen one another since. They got along fine at the wedding, and I was on edge about how their first interaction in such a long time would go. I know this is a huge concern for so many couples who have divorced parents. Maybe it ended messy. Maybe you're just worried about all the heightened emotions of what's going to happen on your big day. But there is a chance that they will be on their best behavior because you are so precious to them. And this bride was so nervous about how this first interaction would go, and it went super smoothly. Oh, wait, I like this one. I'm glad I gave myself too much time to get my hair and makeup done and for setup to be done. I didn't feel rushed through lunch, and it gave me time to relax and check on setup helpers before the wedding. We also had more time to get photos. I love this. I love a non-cramped morning. Hair and makeup can run behind. Not the artists themselves, not the vendors, but with so many people running around trying to get their face and hair done, things can get out of hand if someone shows up late. So scheduling extra time and having a very leisurely morning can really come in handy. Okay, wait, I love this one. We talked about a photo wrangler here on this channel, and here is why. Ready? On our photo list for family pics, we listed out every combo with people's names. Then one of my friends that was helping behind the scenes stood next to the photographer yelling out names for who was on deck for pictures. We got all family photos done in 15 minutes. Have a photo wrangler, list out everyone's names. Keep your list short. Remember, each pose takes a minute. So if you have 50 poses, it's going to take 50 minutes. So if you have 20 poses, it could take about 20 minutes. But if you have someone there photo wrangling and yelling people's names out, it can go a lot more quickly. Okay, and we'll end with this one. Our late night snack. We had a smoked Gouda mac and cheese bar with to-go containers. Our guests loved it. Hi, invite me to your wedding if we're having mac and cheese. Thank you. Also, having a last dance with just my husband in our reception space before our exit was one of my favorite decisions. It was a wonderful way to end the night together and have one last moment just for the two of us. Sometimes being intentional and carving out that space and time during your day can create just a little pocket for the two of you to connect and feel really grounded about your wedding day experience. All right, you're up. What's a wedding win that you're currently experiencing or did experience? Drop that in the comments below. Brag. Get in there. Maybe you saved money. Maybe you booked an incredible vendor. Maybe you found your wedding dress. Maybe something went super successfully. Let me know in the comments below. Get down there. Encourage one another. This is already a very difficult thing to go through for so many people. Let's focus on the good. Let's focus on the wins. And let's remember that we always have something to be excited about. You found your favorite person, the one that you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you get to plan a really cool party to reflect that. So that's what we have for this week's video, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you liked the video, jump on down there, hit that like button, and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. If you are drowning, come join me in the master plan. I would love to help you. Wedding planning is complicated enough as is. You should not be going through this alone. Let me help you. I would like to be there. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. And until next week, bye guys.